Hello there, I'm Scott Moore. In this video, I'm going to talk about sensing opportunity, and basically the problem has to do with businessmen and executives and entrepreneurs and analysts looking at new products that come into the market and then trying to figure out whether or not that product is going to succeed. And also, what's the process and timeline for that product making it through the market and getting accepted and used by the greatest possible number of people. So what I'm going to talk about specifically are three different models. Rogers' 5 factors of consumer adoption, and that basically is a set of decision factors for looking at a product, comparing it to products that are already on the market or other possible products that you might bring on the market, and figuring out whether or not you think this product is going to exist or not. I'm going to focus on two things particularly as I talk through it, and one of them is relative advantage. This is a relatively nuanced issue that students in previous years have had some issue with, so I want to make sure that I clarify it as much as possible. And also target customer. This is just something that you need to make sure that you focus on when you're thinking about these 5 factors. Next, I'm going to talk about Gorville's matrix, and this is a matrix that is another way of thinking about a new product and whether or not it's going to succeed. And it focuses on process innovation or product innovation, and then behavioral change by a consumer. And then finally, I'm going to just refer very quickly to the diffusion curve and what it means and what it's all about. All right, so let's look at Rogers' 5 factors of consumer adoption. First is relative advantage. So how much better is this product than the products you're comparing it to, than the products that are already in the market, that other products that you might think of bringing into the market instead of this one? Okay, so you have to think certainly about price. You know, if this spaghetti is there's twice as much of it as another spaghetti, but the price is 3 times as much. Yeah, it has more, but it's not necessarily better. And you might think, well, I wouldn't make this mistake. Well, it's been done in a variety of ways with a variety of different kind of products by a whole bunch of people, students, before you. So just be careful of ignoring price when you're looking at relative advantage. Also, when you read product literature from a company about their product, they're going to stress differences between their product and another product. Well, maybe the differences don't matter. Maybe consumers don't care about the difference. Maybe the differences between their product and the other products are not perceptible. Maybe it just doesn't matter. Maybe it's different but worse. Maybe consumers actually like it the other way. So just because it's different and just because the company says it's better doesn't mean it's better. You need to think about it. Okay? And of course, talk to other people. If you were really running a company and really introducing a product, you would certainly want to do some market research related to this. Okay, and don't forget, you can't forget about price. Price matters. Price it shapes what we're thinking about a product. If something's really cheap, we don't have certain expectations. When it's relatively expensive, we certainly do, and a missing feature at a lower price might really matter once it gets up to a higher price. Okay, compatibility. So when this product comes out, how compatible is it with how people think about this kind of product? Is it just a completely different deal, or is it just slightly different? The more compatible it is, the easier it'll be to introduce the product to the marketplace. because it'll be understood more easily. Now, in Roger's paper and in the framework, usually this next factor is called complexity, but I like to call it simplicity because that's the positive end of the spectrum, and the rest of these are all positive factors. So I generally call this the simplicity factor. So the idea here is that how simple is it for for a consumer to understand and to use. So I sort of think of this as the 3A and 3B factors. It's not just simplicity, but it's whether it's simple to understand and whether it's simple to use. Those can be two very different things. You would prefer, generally, that your product be simple to understand and simple to use for a consumer. Trial ability is the next one. That basically says how easy is it for consumers to try out the product, to see what the usage experience is like, and to see what the ownership experience is like. Again, those might be probably relatively related concepts, but you should think about both. How easy is it for a consumer to see how this thing works? Can they get their hands on it? If they can't get their hands on it, how are they going to understand it? Will a video work? Can they go to the local store and see someone use it? Do their friends have it? Just generally, can they see what it's like to own this product? And then finally, observability. Can a consumer see what it's like, or are all the effects of the user on the inside? So you just have to sort of guess what it's like. Oh, I drink this drink and I feel much better. You can't see that. But, I got this cut and the cut disappeared. Okay, so if you knew that person, then you would know that that's better. But is it something on the outside? When I print this document, it looks better than on other printers. Okay, can I see it? Can I see those two documents? Are the differences observable? So those are the 5 factors. Now, make sure when you're thinking about those 5 factors and this product that you're looking at, for each one of these, you think about the target customer. If there's very different target customers with very different needs and they'll have very different user experiences, then you need to think about these 5 factors in terms of the different target customers. And you'd have to do the analysis for each set of target customers. Okay, so don't try to aggregate it and say, well, it'd be really great for one and really poor for another, so on average it's average. You really shouldn't do that. Think of them separately. Okay, next, I want to talk about Gorville's matrix that addresses innovation acceptance. He proposes a 2x2 here. Degree of product change from low to high. So here, the comments that I made earlier about relative change, they basically all apply here as well. And then degree of behavioral change from low to high. So we have a 2x2 and 4 different kinds of products. So generally what you want to have is this right here. So we have a lot of product change. So it's a really much better product. And yes, think about that. If it's degree of product change negative, okay, this is sort of ignored here. This is, negative product change. The idea here is that we're making a positive change, okay? A positive change. Everything about this product is worse. Well, we're going to go over here and it's not even going to make it into the matrix. So the idea here is this is degree of positive product change, real high, and degree of behavioral change. So if consumers don't have to change much and there's a big change in the benefits to the consumer, then it'll be a smash hit. If there's, though, a lot of change required of the consumer, but there's very little product change. Well, Gorville calls this a sure failure. You don't want to be here. And then long haul would be, okay, there's lots of behavioral change required, but over the long haul, they're shooting for a big degree of positive product change. So they say that this has the possibility of being a long haul success. I think of this as not being so much a 2x2 as being sort of there's a range of values here and a range of values here. So you can be way down over here or sort of way up over here. It's you can think about it that way. At first, you'll just sort of try to place into one or the other, and that'll tell you which here. But then you'll start talking about degree of smash hit, stuff like that. Okay, so this can become more subtle over time. And then finally, I just have a little bit to say here about the diffusion curve. The idea behind the diffusion curve is that this describes the process of getting a product into the market. At first, there's going to be innovators who adopt the product, and then you hope early adopters, early majority, late majority, and then laggards. And that there's a different number of these different kinds of products. You have very few number of innovators, and here is, of course, in the majority, the early majority and late majority, that's where the greatest number of consumers who could adopt your product. Okay, so that's this line right here, and then this essentially draws the market share curve over time. You would hope, right? So it starts up gradually, and then there's lots of adoption by lots of people, and then eventually you reach your 100% market share. Of course, most products don't reach that, but that's the general shape of the path, is that it starts off slowly, it takes off, and then eventually it flattens out. And then over here, it's eventually going to start going down over time. Now, I would highly recommend the video by Simon Sinek, and he discusses the diffusion curve way better than I ever have or could. So I would suggest that you watch that video to get a better idea of the concepts behind diffusion curve and how it can be used. Okay, so that's it for this video. Talked about these 3 different tools for thinking about sensing opportunity, and I hope you found them useful. Until next time.